Hi, welcome to World of Braiding. My name is Joy Fido and I'm going to take you through an interesting topic that we get asked all the time. How do I create track weave extensions? Now when it comes to extensions, there are so many different types, and we just did a video that focused on types of hair extensions. So starting from now, we're going to be giving you a series of different ways of installing the different types of hair extensions. But today's video is on track weave extension. So remember, this particular track weave extension is focused on the Caucasian hair. This does not necessarily mean that you cannot have this style on Afro hair, relaxed hair, but the main focus of this way of doing this track weave, just like Kim Kardashian does all the time, is to enhance the volume and the length of your hair. And the way we are going to design the background of this particular track weave is focused on Caucasian hair. But I will explain all of that as we go along. So if you wanted to offer this service to your clients, you have to know how to do cornrows. And that's the major thing required in the track weave extensions, is the cornrow creation. So I'll take you through a basics of that. But remember, we have videos on everything. So we have videos on how to create cornrows, we have videos on extensions. So you consolidate all your learnings that you've been doing with us, and you'll be able to pick this up really quickly. So remember, there's so many different ways of doing extensions right now for all hair types, Caucasian hair in particular. But why have we chosen the track weave as the first one? This is because the track weave is really healthy if you work with a professional. All you're doing is to get the hair in a cornrow, a track of cornrow, that's why it's called track weave, and then you're stitching the extensions onto it. Now there's so many other options out there which we'll get to eventually, but one of the ones that's really not healthy is using the glue, and that one is called the glue gun technique. If you are not professional enough to deal with this, do not get involved with it, because I hear lots of people say, I watched it on YouTube and I used it. It is not healthy if you haven't got the right equipment for it. So I would recommend, if you want to get into Caucasian hair extensions, start with the track weave. It's one of the safest and healthiest ways of doing it. Now, why would anyone want to have extensions? Now, extensions generally, what does it give you? It gives you instant volume. It gives you instant length. It gives you change of color. It gives you versatility. You can wear natural hair normally and then overnight wear straight hair, or have natural straight hair and overnight have textured hair. So extensions are really one of our favorite things, and that's why our name is World of Braiding and Extensions. We enjoy extensions. We recommend extensions. We prefer you work with extensions than to damage your own hair. So the track weave extension is healthy, is good, is one of the ones we highly recommend, and I'm going to take you through basics of how to do it. So for today's demonstration, we are working with the trailing head, and after that we're going to look at all the different types of extensions you can use to create this way of adding length to the client's hair, and then all the materials you'll be looking for. So the things we need, remember we're working with cornrows, first is the needles. So you need your needle, and I recommend the C needles because they're a lot easier to work with. And then of course you need the thread, stitching thread. Now they come in so many colors, so it would depend on what color you're working with at the time. If you're working with a client who's got blonde hair, you have to get the blonde color or really light color of the thread, so it doesn't conflict with the color of her hair. Then of course the clips to help us. Then of course the tail comb to be able to section the hair. You will need the scissors to do the cutting. This is something very interesting you'll be looking at, is the elastic band. In this particular one in the UK we get it from Claire's. It has no color, which is really good, and it's very light. So you see how small it is. It's colorless. So what that helps to do is to make sure that because it's light and it has no color, it just sits in very firmly on the client's head. Brush to be able to brush through the hair, and then basic extensions, which has come from the Expressions pack. Now you need that to be able to add just a hint of extension onto the client's natural hair, so it holds the cornrow really firmly for you to stitch on. Now once we're done with the basic materials we need, then we're looking at the hair extension itself, the particular extension that you're going to stitch onto the client's head. So now some of the companies we work with, Slick, this particular one is 24 inches and it's called the luxury range. Now when you buy these extensions, again, be very watchful what type you're buying. The good thing with this one is very specific. It says European weave. That's what EW means. So if you're working with a Caucasian client, look out for the European weave. You don't want to see yaki, which is what makes the hair very thick. In a European hair, the textures of the hair would not blend in. So always look out for European weave if you're working with a European client. Or focus on brands that come from the companies that work with European textures. This is another one. This one is particularly, the texture is Indian texture. That's what they said. And what that gives is various waves. It's not blunt straight like this one is. So this is a bit wavy. So again, it depends on the texture of your client's hair. Some of the very good ones I have worked with my European clients is the Goddess. And Goddess is really, most times it's very straight. So if your client's got very straight hair, it just makes life really easy. This is just some of the old ones I've worked with. But see how straight, it's very straight. Forget the fact that actually I wrapped it, and that's why it looks looking a bit wavy. The texture is very straight. So that's what you want when you're working with Caucasian clients. You don't want hair that's got a lot of body in it. It does not blend with the client's natural hair. But this is why I always recommend, always consult with your clients first. And consultation means you want to check the hair they've got and compare that with the hair you want to add on as the extension. Nothing would be more ridiculous than have two textures of hair on one client's head. So when you do that consultation of knowing exactly what texture of hair she's got and then blending that with the texture of hair you're buying, it makes life a lot easier and it makes her feel good as well. So this is another one from Slick and it's called Remy Touch. We worked with another one from Milky Way and it was called Saga. So there's so many different types, but I always insist go for the really higher quality texture of hair so you get the kind of texture you're looking for. Just cut away the cheap. Now when you go into the virgin hair, which you see them here, again, this is where the texture again matter. So you have to be sure you're getting really good texture. Now what lots of people tend to do when they're working with extensions is they work with 3 bags. So 3 of these, or sometimes I've actually had people use up to 5. Now imagine how much volume hair that hair will contain. That's when you're looking like Kim Kardashian, you know, you want to have a lot of hair, or Beyonce on your head. So remember, the texture of hair you work with does count. But for today's training, because we're just giving you basic knowledge, we are just working with synthetic hair. We don't recommend synthetic hair for a client, but just for you to know how to work with this hair. Okay, so to get started, this is the most important part of working with a Caucasian client. You take out the crown. Take out the crown of the hair. Now why we do that is the Caucasian hair has what we call natural flow. So most times, if you notice, the hair just drops open right in the middle and goes as far as it can go, and sometimes it's from the side. So they have different ways their hair naturally fall. Yeah, so if you want to create extension on that head, you make sure you take the crown completely away from what you want to do, so when you finish, no one notices that anything extra was added to that hair. So that is one trick lots of people don't know about Caucasian hair. People think it carries on the way we work with the Afro hair. This is the biggest difference between Afro hair and Caucasian hair. Take away the crown before you do anything you want to do with the rest of the hair. So the next thing you do is to create the hairline completely away. That's the hairline. And take all the hairs on the sides away as well. See that? So all of these hairs were taken away. You will not touch them. You will let them be free when you finish. Okay, so this is what I've done. So I've taken the hairline away. So you create a section and then you carry on and take away, just round the whole head, take away all the hairs on the sides. Now your client's hair will help you decide how much hair you want to create out, because you don't want it to be too thin or too thick where you don't have enough hair to work with. So that's what we've done, and we're assuming that you already know how to do cornrows by watching this video. So all I've done is just a basic cornrow going across to hold the hair away so I can work with it. Now the hair remaining here is the hair we're going to add our extensions. So now we are ready to create our tracks. So the tracks is what we're aiming to achieve right now, and this is what you do. You create the thin, very very thin cornrows. See that? That's going to be our cornrow. So you take it thinly across. So what I've done, I've created a very very small cornrow across from that end to the middle, and I've held it together with the little elastic band. I'm going to show you how I did that. So you take the extension. Now the reason for this regular braiding extension is just to make sure the hair is held really down. You see how fragile these strands of hair are? That's how you have it on a Caucasian head. It's not that thick to work with. So you just give it a bit of help by putting just a little hint of hair extensions to hold it down. Now what we did not talk about was the water. This is the biggest key to working with the Caucasian hair. Just spray a bit of water to make the hair damp, and that's what's going to help you create your cornrow very easily. Then you clip the hair away so you actually see what you're doing. And I know you know how to add extensions to hair, so I'm not giving you any more information on that. And if you don't, you need to buy our video on introduction to hair braiding. Sorry. So you put the hair extension in and then start braiding the hair. So if you notice, this extension we're using just a different color from the client's hair. Is not a problem because we're going to stitch over it. But if you want to be absolutely spot on, you can get a hair extension that's the same color as your client's hair. And you might ask, this hair is synthetic? Yes. It's going to blend into the hair and it will not make much difference because it's very very thin hair I'm adding on, not too much hair at all. So you take it all the way to the middle where the other strand was, and so they meet, and then you finish it off, but not completely finished off, just braid a little to the middle, and that should be enough for you. So after you've done that, then you take the elastic band, see how small it is, and it's very, very fragile. You use that to hold the hair down. This is so that it does not unravel. I've seen different people do different things at this stage. Some people actually stitch it. They take their needle and thread, and then they stitch the two of them together here. That's an option you can take on, but I prefer what I do. So the two hairs are together now, and this is what's going to happen. You actually cross them like that, and that's what we're going to do next. So with your needle and your thread, you stitch the two hairs together. So what I've done, I've knotted the needle at the base, and then I can put I knotted the thread and I put my needle through it. So I'm stitching, and I'm stitching. So now that's held together. So I make sure the needle goes into the thread. So I've stitched it from the middle and all the way to the point where I had the rubber band, the elastic band. So I've stopped there. Now this is what I then do. I don't cut it off, I carry it on and go back on myself. So it saves me a lot of cutting and adding more thread in. So I'll stabilize that part so nothing's going to change from there, and then I move really quickly to the other side. So again, I've stopped where I had the elastic band holding the hair for me. So that's in place, and then I'm going to try and knot this off and cut it off now. So how I do that, I just go over it a few times. If you bought our DVD on how to create waves, all of this will be easy for you to follow. So I'm holding on both sides, and I cut the thread off the needle, and then I knot it. So that's completely done. That track is ready. Okay, so after the first track, this is what happens. Depending on what your intention is, or your client's intention is to create these waves, tracks, you decide what next to do. If you want to create a lot of hair volume on her head, you may carry on and create another track immediately after this track. But otherwise, this is the next thing that we recommend you do. This is why we call this particular technique skip track. So we've created that track. This is a track that's been skipped. So normally you skip a track, throw her hair over the track that you've created, and it gives her the most natural look. So that's her hair now sitting over the track that you have created. Can you see that? Her hair's taking over the earlier track, and you don't really see much that's happening there. So what I'm going to do is create the next track just for you to see what this is, and then we can start the stitching. So this is our completed work on the cornrow track. So that's a track going all the way there. That's the second track, and this is our third track going all the way to the end, and then our fourth track. So we've done it. Now remember, we're skipping tracks, which is why you're seeing the hairs in between. That's the client's hair. So that hair covers each track you finished. And what we've done here, we've just finished creating the first stitch, which is this one on the first track. Now my recommendation is finish all your tracks before you start stitching, which is what I've done. So I just carried on putting the first stitch, first line of tracks, so you see what that looks like. So I'm going to take you through seeing the second stitching going on. So once you've created your first one, you take the hair that you're using to skip the track and you cover it, and that's what's happened here. So now I've covered this hair and that track is already covered. Now ignore the fact that I've used a different color hair that's not matching with the client's hair. When you're working with your client, make sure the hairs match. So you get your needle, get your thread in, and you're ready to go. So that is there. Now there comes my hair extension. Just to let you know that you don't always have to use just the one line of weft all the time. That's one of the questions I get asked all the time. Does it have to be just the one line? No, this is the one line. And when I'm working with like virgin hair or really good quality hair, I will open up the hair so that the wefts are not too thick. But this is again just for you to know how the process happens. Now don't forget what the braiding teaches. We teach you how to do all these things. So if you really wanted to get detailed information on this, you know just where to go, come to us and we'll take you through the whole process. So I'm going to just show you how you can actually use two wefts to create a line or a track. And so you take that through. My needle's here. You probably want to know why my needle is so far from the beginning. It's important you don't stay right at the beginning, because what happens, the hair tends to drop down on you. So again, I recommend you work with these clips. They help you hold the hair in place while you do your work. So my needle's in. Something quick to note, if you look at the thread, I'm just working with the one. I don't work with two when I'm working on stitching. The reason you don't use two is because two actually creates bulk and you don't want to create bulk. So the needle goes, and if you watch, the needle is facing up. So now I've got that started. I can actually move it far away so it's not distracting me. So I concentrate on finishing what I left in the front. Oops, that happens sometimes. Your thread just gets a bit matted. Okay. Remember, with stitching and weaves, health and safety is a very, very important part of what you're doing. Never let the needle stitch or stick into your client's scalp. Now this is a major part, because people these days have everything going on, and it's for your safety and their safety as well. So try not to let the needle stick into their scalp. Another reason why we like the C needle, it just goes in and comes right back out at you. You may be asking me, how do I decide what gaps I create when I do the stitches? That I leave to you to decide, because if your client is going to wear this for long, you want to make them really close so it stays in. But if it's just for a few weeks, you can go as quickly as you want to go. And so I've got to the beginning of the track. And that's it. You make sure it's neatly secured. Remember, this is the very beginning, so this is how you knot it off. And it's all neatly in place. So now I'm taking my hair, my needle, back to where I actually wanted to go in the first place, which is stitch the track. To the end of the track, you just cut off the hair extensions. Now remember, you stay very close to the weft so you don't cut some hair off the track. And so that's us completely done on that track. We finish the second track. This is the skip track, so we'll fold it over the one we finished with and clip it in place. We're on to our third track now. Remember, the number of tracks you create will depend on how much hair your client wants. Two ways I do this is you create more tracks if she wants a lot of hair, or you put more extensions on each track if she wants a lot of hair. Okay, so here's our finished look. You can see all the stitches done. And see the beginning from end to end. Now make sure each time you're working at the beginnings you reinforce your stitching. Then here was the second track, and then the third, and then the fourth. So that's all of them. So once you finish with the stitching, you now go back to the cornrow that you initially left behind and release the cornrow. Okay, so that's all the hair we left behind. You can see all her natural hair, so she can actually lift this hair into a ponytail if she wanted. So once you've done that, I've dropped it back. This is the full head all done. Then you let go of the crown that you had clipped away. And this is where her natural flow, natural fall will come into play. So again, you brush the hair into place. See all of that? Let's say this was her natural fall up to there. The extensions down here so you don't see anything. That's the whole idea. See how that blends in? Remember, the whole hairline was left free, so look at all that. So this is where the client can decide what she wants to do with her hair. If she wants to cut it, to blend in, but in this case there's not much difference between the length of her hair and the length of the extension we used, so there's not much she would have done here. What she's got here is volume, so if she had very thin hair, she's got lovely volume now that she can do different things with. So after this stage, next thing is to style the hair, and then the next things she thinks about too are the products to use while she's wearing these extensions. Now remember, extensions, especially when you work with the virgin hair, they are just like your hair, so be as caring as possible, and where necessary, be even more caring than you would with your own hair, because what happens is they tangle very quickly, and that's our head of hair. So I would normally flat iron this, but because we use synthetic hair, so I'm going to use another head to show you what you could be doing with it. This is the one we just did now. Look at the whole back. No sign of any extensions at all. Okay, this is another color of hair that we've worked with earlier, and this is 100% human hair, so I could style this if I wanted to. But if you bought our DVD on how to create waves, you will know different ways of working with your flat iron and curling iron. So you see the hair, that's the client's hair, that's the extension, and that's the front view, exactly the same thing. So see all the hair neatly on the sides, and she can lift it up and do different things with it. Same thing on this side. And see how much longer this particular hair is. This was 18 inches. So that's if I wanted to style it. Just wanted to show you. Okay, this is another example of another one we've done earlier, and I just wanted you to see how this was created. If you go behind the scene, as they say, that's where the whole extension is. Now, if you look deep there, you see the cornrows showing what we've done. What will happen here is, if you have a client who said to you they want, see, this is the extensions up to there, and is a lot that's gone in here to give her really lots of volume. This was one of those instances where we got the color really right with the training head, so you can barely tell where the extension is. Now your client may say they want the extension to go really high up. They don't want it just hanging somewhere around there. And this is where we create foundations like this. So I'll show you what created that foundation. And it was this one. So you see how we created a jigsaw of cornrow on the scalp. And then this is the one you actually take out when you finish, and you stitch the extension in. See how far up it went. And this is the hair that you let go when you finish. So all of this will be let go, and then this is where you stitch all your extensions. So you remember when we did the other head, we did skip track. The track was skipped and then you stitched. The track was skipped and you stitched. Here we've cornrowed the whole hair at the back, and we're actually putting as much hair extension as possible into this head, and that what gave us as much hair on this training head as possible. So these are instances when your clients say they want a lot of hair. But remember again, this is what we do. We train you on how to achieve things like this. So if you want to learn this, come to us and we'll take you through all the steps that we've gone through in this video and more details about it. So the next stage people ask is, how do I care for my hair extensions, especially the track weave extensions? Make sure the products you're using are healthy products, and then we've just brought some here to give you ideas. This is Tresemme, but it's silicone free. This is a conditioner. When you use that, you're basically just putting it on the strands of the hair. This is a shampoo. It's a sulfate free shampoo. It says no parabens and no SLS or SLES. So these are the things that dry out the hair, and we recommend when you're working with these products, make sure they're the ones that don't contain things that will dry out your hair, because your hair extensions is just like your hair. So product that will keep it moisturized. Now once you've got it all nicely shampooed, the next thing we recommend is work with serums. Don't go putting too many products on the hair. Just a little bit of serum, and what it does, it just puts back shine and body into the hair. You can occasionally use the mousse to make it a bit thicker and fuller if you wanted that to happen, but you know what mousse is. Look for it in the shops. Now when you're doing the shampoo, try not to mess up the hair too much. When you're concentrating on the scalp, just focus on where the scalp is and stay away from dragging the tracks that's been put in. That's the main way of shampooing the hair. So shampoo it, condition the tips of the hair, stay away from the scalp itself when it comes to conditioners, because what it does, it actually puts a lot of products at the base of the hair. And then you cleanse it and make sure you put your serum, and that's all you need for taking care of it. Next thing people ask is, how long can I wear it for? You could wear it up to about 6 weeks, up to 8 weeks as well sometimes, but usually I recommend, based on how quick your hair grows, you would then need to retighten it, or just come and get it out and put it back in. It doesn't take long to put hair extension, especially the track weave extension. It's so little time, it's not anything compared to the other extension techniques we do. Something we just wanted you to see is this magazine. We've been well featured in it, Black Hairstyles from the Netherlands. This magazine talks about so many different hairstyles, because we hear people say they don't see magazines that talk natural hairstyles. This is one of those really good magazines that we found that really deal with natural hairstyles. So it gives you braids, weaves, extensions, different ways of styling them. It does everything you're looking for. I mean, my clients, when they look at them, they are so engrossed, because it gives them so many choices of different styles they could be wearing for their next hair. So that's why we love it, and luckily we've been featured really well in this magazine as well. I know you're gonna ask me, where can I get it? We're working on trying to get it on our website as well, but in the meantime, just Google them, Black Hairstyles Netherlands and Stephanie's Black Hairstyles, and you'll see whatever it is that comes up. At the moment, they are mostly based in the Netherlands and Suriname. So the next thing you'll be thinking about is the equipment to work with, and usually the flat iron is one of your favorite things, because what that does, it actually flattens the hair. And what lots of people do these days is actually use a flat iron to create the kind of waves they are looking for. So your regular flat iron, depending on where you're based. Now something else that came to our attention, the edge stick. This is one of the latest hair equipment that has come out that is really useful for us to use. The edge stick has amazing work for us. Now remember what we did with this hair. We left her natural hair out in the open, and we just put the extensions at the back. Now, because we said this is Caucasian hair extension, does not mean that people with afro hair cannot wear this hair. Yes, you can. So what happens is your afro hair is left out in the open and the rest is all stitched in. When you finish, you will need the edge stick. The edge stick is a bit like your hot comb. If you remember what hot comb used to be, and in hairdressing we call it thermal styling. So the hot comb, what's happened here is that bit inside is where the heat really is, and then the external part is the comb itself. So what happens, you put this on and then you actually comb the hair, and as you comb the hair, you are actually straightening the hair and taking out all the tangles, as well as straightening the afro hair. So you will need this even when your hair is relaxed. Let's say it wasn't well relaxed and the texture of the extension you put in is very straight compared to the texture of your hair. You use the edge stick to comb through and blend the two textures together. So that's the beauty of the edge stick, and we're going to be working on this one of these days, so watch out for the video that will show you exactly how to work with it. But we just thought it was necessary to let you know about it, so that if you are working with leaving your natural hair open, you can always work with things like this. Another beauty is it does not burn your scalp, unlike the regular hot comb. So that's the edge stick for you, and we have it on our website. So if you wanted to order this, you can always order from our website. Okay, so something interesting and exciting we want to do. We only just recently moved to Essex, and we want to interact with our clients who are based in Essex in particular, and obviously with everyone across the world. So for our Essex clients, we got a special promotion for you. We're ready to do your weave extension, the track weave extension, absolutely free. We're gonna do it on only 2 clients. So if you quickly register with us, you may be just one of those lucky 2. Now what we want to hear from you, we want you to email us. We want you to email us and tell us when World of Braiding was founded. So what that means, you have a bit of interest in us. We also want you to tell us what are the 2 main things that World of Braiding does. So if you can email us that, when was it founded, what are the 2 main things that World of Braiding offers to the public, we will be more than happy to get back to you. But first of all, you have to add the image, your own image, to that email, because we want to see the color of hair you would like to use. Now this special promotion, we're going to offer the hair and we're going to offer the service absolutely free to you, because we want to interact with you. So send us an image of what your hair looks like, the color of hair you would like to work with, but of course we will also see that from your image, and how long you want the hair to be. So it's a special promotion for only our clients who are based in Essex. So the sooner you get back to us with this response to our questions, the better it's going to be, because you're going to get an absolutely free service and free hair from World of Braiding and Extensions. And this special promotion ends 31st of March. No later than 31st of March 2013. So there you have it. It's been another exciting day sitting here working with you, getting you to understand what the track weave extension is all about. Now remember what World of Braiding stands for. We stand for natural hair glamour. We stand here to teach you professional things of how to work with hair and convert it into money, because you got 2 hands. There's no point just sitting down and saying there's no job. There is a lot you can do, and there's so many techniques out there that we've been teaching you. We've done DVDs, so you cannot say I'm too far away, I can't travel to you. So it's open, it's available for you to use. So here we are, more than excited to give you skills to empower you to be able to transfer that skill into money that you put into your purse. So another exciting day. Thank you so much. We love hearing from you, and please remember this. I know so many emails come through and people are asking so many questions. Be very, very clear with your question. And I had one today saying, could you give me a list of the products you wrote on a particular video? Now what I want you to do is, whenever I show a video and I'm showing you things in that video, I want you to take your time, just keep watching it over and over and write out the names that are there, because we're working on so many things. I want to know which particular video you're referring to, and it just helps to get you involved as well. I don't have to do all the work. So we love your questions. We love you getting back to us. We are excited to work with you, and thank you so much.